This is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the Crescent wire wrapped earrings. Now these are an exclusive Beadaholique kit designed by Becky Nunn of Nunn Design. So you're getting a lot of beautiful Nunn Design components here. So what you'll receive when you get your kit is you'll receive your 2 open frame hoops, earring hooks. You'll receive 2 kinds of chain. We have the ball chain here, and then we also have a faceted hammered chain here. And then you'll also get your little coil of wire. And that's all you need to complete this, but for some tools, you're going to need some needle nose pliers and a flush cutter, and I recommend having some wire straightening pliers on hand if you want, but that's definitely not required. I'll show you how to use those though. So if you have all of your stuff ready, I will start to begin. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my little coil of wire here and just kind of uncoil at the ends here. Now you're going to get 30 inches of wire, and for each earring you're going to need 15 inches. So you can either cut this in half, or I'm actually just going to go ahead and measure mine out here. So if you want, you can use a ruler for this. Or like I said, you're welcome to just simply cut it in half. All right. So I'm just going to measure out my 15 inches, use my flush cutters, and snip off half. All right, I'm going to set that one aside. Now if you want to use your wire straightening pliers, go ahead and do so at this point. I like to have just a little kind of kinked end because that usually gives me something to grip onto. But I'm just going to go ahead and just straighten that out a little bit. You don't want to do that too much because you're going to end up work hardening your wire here. So in this video here, I'm only going to make one earring, but it's obviously the same process to make the second one. I'm just going to get some of that out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by wire wrapping my open frame here. Now you're going to want to come down about a ½ inch or so on from the loop there, and go ahead and take that straight edge of the wire, and what you're going to want to do, and this is where I think you can use your needle nose pliers, it's a neat little trick. So you want to just kind of take about, I'd say, ½ inch or so and just bend it. And what you're going to do there is you're going to create a little space for that to live so that you're actually wire wrapping over that. That way you won't have any of those little tines there to snag anything that you might be wearing. All right, so I'm just going to hold it with my fingers just like so and sort of wrap going around towards the back. Now you can wrap whichever way you like, just stay consistent. And I'm going to wrap just 4 times. There we go. And you want your coils to be nice and tight, but don't worry just yet. I'll show you how to kind of tighten them up here in just a second. And you're just going to slip and do one more. There we go. And make sure that they are working their way down towards the center. All right. Just kind of get my wire out of the way there. There we go. So now you can just sort of take your pliers and just sort of bring those little coils nice together. You can give them a couple little squeezes there. There you go. And now, because I don't want to cut myself on that wire, I'm just going to use my pliers here, bend it away from the piece, and come in with my flush cutters and just snip that off. There we go. And now you can just kind of work it so that it is covered. All right, so now I'm going to wrap around and I'm going to come towards the outside here. And you can see just working it with my fingers, I was a little kinked, so I'm just going to take my straighteners and just straighten it just a little bit for myself. All right, so now we're going to start to wrap that ball chain around the edge there. And what you're going to need to count off is you're going to need 20 of these little balls. All right, so I'm just going to count off and then snip it with my flush cutters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So I'm going to go into the next one there and just snip that off. All right, and I have a little extra piece here, so I'm just going to take those flush cutters and just trim just a little bit. There we go. So there is my length of 20 balls. As you can see, you get plenty, so don't worry if you kind of want to add more or less, you can always do that, but I'm just showing you sort of the traditional way. I'll be talking you through a couple of ways where you can sort of alternate this as you go. So take your ball chain and you're going to set that first ball across the way there, and what you're going to do is you're going to be wire wrapping in those little spaces in between those balls right there. So go ahead and just wrap around, and you're going to go around the back. And this is where you want to pull a little snug and just make sure that especially this first one is nice and tight. And then you're just going to repeat and go right through that second gap right there. Now, as you're going around, you're going to want it to line up nice and flush with the open frame here. So take your time with this. So just go up and around and the back and sort of lay it across the front and just sort of move it to the back there. So you want to have nice, even wraps as you go all the way around, and you're just going to do this for all 20 of the balls there. And you can see that I'm going to end up nicely on the other side. All right. And let's just continue here. And wrapping around. And every couple, just make sure that you're kind of getting to that nice little edge there. And continue to wrap. And this is 24 gauge wire, so you're getting a nice thick wire, so it'll show up really nicely, but it is nice to work with as well. So you're getting a nice little wrap. All right, so just continue to wrap your balls here. And it looks like I'm getting a little off, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of take the whole piece and just kind of bend my wire back just a little bit with those pliers. Also, this helps to kind of, I'm just squeezing ever so gently to get those nice wraps looking perfect. All right, so let's continue. And I have just a few more here. And what's really nice about this ball chain is you just keep following, so all of your wire wraps are just sort of naturally nice and evenly spaced. So this is great if you've wanted to try some wire wrapping but haven't been quite sure. So, all right. So now you can see that I've wrapped the last wrap there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap and follow the same as I did on this side, but I'm gonna wanna leave a little bit of a gap because I'm gonna wanna tuck my wire in there. So don't wrap these ones too tightly. So you're just gonna wanna kinda wrap around and have it be just a little loose on the front. And again, just ever so slightly loose. All right, and there is my third one there. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come around and I'm actually gonna trim my wire just a little bit here, because what I want to do is now to try to tuck it down in there. So I'm just gonna kind of take my pliers here and sort of just thread it down into the wire. Now this can be a little finicky. Oops. Of course, it knows I just said that too. It can be a little bit finicky trying to get it down in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of uncoil just that top one there. Maybe I didn't give myself just enough room. Now, alternatively, you're more than welcome to just sort of trim it as you might normally with this, but I want to get mine in there to leave that nice little gap. All right. And this might be the hardest part of the whole thing. So if you can't get this, don't worry. I'm clearly struggling just a little bit. There we go. So now I just want to get my wire down in there and sort of pull it through. All right. Now I'm just going to take my flush cutters and get in there and trim that last little piece of wire off. There we go. All right. So just be patient. Like I said, especially if this is your first time kind of wire wrapping, don't go too crazy. You know, you don't want to mar your wire or anything like that. All right. So now we have our nice little wire wrapped piece. So there you go. So you want that nice even wrap around the side there. And at this point you can kind of move it around with your fingers if you want, or you can use those pliers. But that is the first step that we're going to create here. All right, and as you can see, just by looking at my earrings that I finished up here, they're nice and long and dangly. So I'm going to show you a couple of different little options and little tricks to alternate and see how far you want those really to hang down. Okay, so now we're ready to attach the chain to our finished wire wrapped piece. And as you can see, this is the chain that we're using, and I opened up and I have a 16 length chain here. So I have 16 links here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. All right, so now what I'm going to need to do is take this little piece of chain here, and I need to count until I get to the 10th link. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm going to go ahead and slip my pliers in there and pick up that 10th link. Now what I want to do is just hold it in my pliers here, take a secondary pair of pliers, and just open it just like a little jump ring. And you can see that there's two different sides there. So what I need to do is I'm going to remove it from the length that has 9 links on it. So that was sort of the first one. And I'm just going to replace it by putting it down 1 link, just like so. All right, and just make sure it kind of sits in there. Here we go. And just close that back up. All right, so now you should have a little piece of chain here that looks like a little wishbone. So you're going to have 1 link here, and this is going to be sort of your top link, and then I have 2 sides with 7 links on them. So let me just double check and count here that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's good. And on this side I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. All right, so to one side here, I'm just going to pick up that last link, open it up, and I'm going to slip it through 1 hole of my loop here. And just sort of close that up by twisting gently. And you just want to make sure you get a nice flush little closure there. All right. And now I'm just going to move to the other side here. And you want to make sure that your chain isn't twisted at all. So I'm just going to kind of hold it up here. There we go. There we go. It's like it'll untwist for me. There we go. Oh, you know what? I did twist it on that first side. So let me just take that off. And this is good to know before you even bother to add the earring finding at the very top. There is a proper way to do this. There we go. So just flip it to the other side. Now I know that doesn't seem like much, but it should twist that wire. All right. There we go. So now we are all set to attach our second side here. Again, just opening up that link, sliding it onto our loop, and closing it. All right. There we go. And the very last step there is to open up your earring finding. Now you can just press gently to sort of twist, and you're going to slip that last link at the very top up and over. And close that loop. And now your earring is all complete. Now, one thing that you could do if you wanted to add a little length to this, because you're going to have that extra chain, is you can add more links that go up and up and up. So I'll just show you how to do that really quick because I think it's kind of fun. I love big dangly earrings myself, and that's what makes this kit so unique, is that you can actually just add a link at a time. So I'm just going to, again, just sort of open up that ear wire and slip it off. And I'm going to add one more link just to that very top one there. I want just a little extra. All right, and now just slip that ear wire back on. And you're all done. So really nice little neat thing, and you can also personalize it by adding or subtracting length as you wish. So it's a great little earring project. And this is the Crescent wire wrapped earrings designed by Becky Nunn of Nunn Design. So thank you, Becky, for designing this beautiful kit for Beadaholique. You can find this kit and even more Beadaholique kits at beadaholique.com.